All right, let's take a look at the next example. Now we're going to solve by finding all the roots. And so as we look at this, it has too many terms for me to do grouping. Can't factor it, no common term, no GCF. So this is where we would try our PQ. And I really don't want to work with the PQ where the P is 192, too many factors. So this would be a good example for you to graph this. So I've graphed it on desmos.com, and the link's on the website. To type this in, when you type x in, to get the exponent, you're going to need to use what I call the caret button, and that's the symbol above the 6 on your keyboard. So you're going to have to hit Shift 6, and that gives you the exponent. So anyways, when you type this in, you get a graph, and you can see over here that it has the roots -6 and 2. So we think we have these two possible roots of x equals -6 and 2. So that's what we're going to try. So we'll set up our synthetic division. 1, 4, 4, 64, and -192. And I'm going to start with the small number, the 2. Bring the 1 down. So 1 times 2 gives me 2. You add them and get 6. And then now we go back. 6 times 2 is 12. 16. 6 times 2 is 32. And that gives me 96. 96 times 2 is -192. Sorry, positive 192. And so now when we add them together, we get our remainder of 0, which is what we want. So that does mean that 2 is a root. So we know 2 is a root. Now, since we got a nice number over here, -6, this would be x cubed plus 6x squared plus 16x plus 96. And then to make 2 a root, this would be x minus 2. And so this, what we started with, factors to this. And so now as you look at this, this can be factored by grouping. So we'll cut it in half. And let's take an x squared out. And so now this gives me x plus 6. Take a 16 out. And that gives me x plus 6. Put it together. X squared plus 16. X plus 6. And then we still have the x minus 2. And so go back to where we started from the graph at that -6. And so we were right, -6 is a root. If you wanted to here, you could have also done another round of synthetic division with -6. And so we get -6, 0, 0, 16, -96, 0. And so since this was an x cubed, this would become x squared plus 16, which is what we have here. So there's 2 ways to get there. So I can't factor this. If this were a negative, we could, but since it's a positive, we can't. And so we're just going to take these now and set them equal to 0. X minus 2 equals 0. Let's change the order a little bit. X plus 6 equals 0. And then x squared plus 16 equals 0. So this is going to give us x equals 2, -6, which we knew from our graph. And so now when I minus 16 to both sides, I get x squared equals -16. To undo that square, we're going to square root both sides. And so now I get x equals plus or minus. So now look at the 16. What's the square root of 16? 4. So this breaks down to 16 times negative 1. And if you remember, the square root of negative 1 is I. So my answers are 2, negative 6, and plus or minus 4i. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 roots. So each example is different. Always try, factoring first the GCF before you go to trying the PQ test. I hope this helps.